I'd be talking about Dave Chappelle too if my special were as mediocre as what her special actually turns out to be. Can we at some point admit that Wanda Sykes really isn't that good at stand-up anyway?
He's unbothered.
What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Before we get started, I'm just going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to comment but you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and put a knife. Doing so really does help me out on the algorithm, and people really will not like my take on this topic, but it has to be said. So here's the deal. Wanda Sykes has apparently put out a new special on Netflix. I went ahead and watched it today, and it is mediocre at best, which is what Wanda Sykes has always been. There's never been anything particularly extraordinary about Wanda Sykes' comedy. The reason Wanda Sykes became such a big deal, if you even consider her a big deal, really was because her voice and her delivery really do carry everything she does. Wanda Sykes has never been known for her stand-up. A lot of you know her from either her appearances on the Chris Rock show back in the day, or the Daily Show, or you saw her in Made in Manhattan, or some of the movies that she did back in the early 2000s. She talked about Dave Chappelle, which is what made all the press in the first place. If she didn't talk about Dave Chappelle, there'd really be nothing for her to talk about when it comes to this special. But what she said that really perked my ears was when she mentioned that for her, being a woke comic isn't necessarily an insult. I don't have a problem with that, but this is what got me. In regards to being quote unquote woke, this is where the article picks up. But she's not bothered by the descriptor. In fact, she explains she takes it as a compliment. If you want to give me the label of a woke comic, that's fine. That's great, Sykes tells Variety's Adam B. Very in a new interview. What makes me laugh is that they say that like it's an insult. Quote, oh, they're woke. Thank you. Yeah, I read some stuff from time to time. Yeah, I know a few things. It's not an insult at all. Continuing on, Sykes, whose new special, I'm an Entertainer, premieres on Netflix today, opines that the woke comic label actually places her in a pantheon of iconoclastic comedians. I mean, George Carlin, he was woke. George Carlin was known for railing against what would be considered woke culture by today's standards. He made fun of a lot of that stuff. And a lot of people think that because George Carlin was clearly liberal, that meant he would have been woke. Woke and liberal aren't necessarily the same thing. Richard Pryor, woke. When it comes to Richard Pryor, let's check out an excerpt from an article about an arrest that he had in January of 1978. Richard Pryor, woke comedian. Richard Pryor, the comedian, surrendered to the police tonight, was charged with assault with a deadly weapon, and was released on $5,000 bail, the police said. A warrant had been issued for the entertainer earlier in the day because of a shooting incident at his home, but he could not be found. No one was injured in the incident. Louis Bobbitt, an investigator, had said that the authorities would give Mr. Pryor until tomorrow to surrender before pursuing him. A complaint against Mr. Pryor was filed yesterday by two women friends of the comedian's wife, Deborah, Mr. Bobbitt said. Witnesses said the three women were ejected from the house by force, chased around the yard in a car by Pryor, and at when they escaped into the street. He said earlier witnesses said Pryor had rammed the victim's car with his Mercedes-Benz 5 or 6 times. Okay, yeah, that sounds totally woke. Not to mention that back in the day, a lot of black people were mad at Richard Pryor because he used the N-word all the time, and they didn't really think he should be using the N-word. So I don't know what her definition of woke is. Bill Hicks, woke. Bill Hicks, I guess, could fall under woke, as in he really wasn't that funny, and that's what a lot of people won't tell you about Bill Hicks. He just was saying a lot of stuff that wasn't popular to say, but he definitely was not what you would consider traditionally funny. Very rarely could you say that Bill Hicks even killed it. But I guess on that one out of 3, yeah, you could be somewhat right. Sykes shares, it's almost like they're angry that we're evolving. It's really sad. Okay, if Wanda Sykes really thinks that it's a compliment for people to be calling her woke, or more specifically a woke comic, maybe she needs to get her head checked, because I'm not really sure why she would consider that to be a compliment. complement with everything that's happened with woke culture and comedy. Can we talk about the effect that woke culture has had on stand-up? Because it's been nothing good. Comedy Central is truly in the shitter because they tried to go to the woke way. When it comes to woke and comedy, it makes for terrible comedy. It's the reason that you don't know a lot of LGBTQ comedians, because that is centered on woke culture right now as far as the industry goes. So the LGBTQ comedians that the industry has really pushed in the last several years have been woke and have not been particularly funny, because you really can't be both, because when you're woke, you're worried about hurting everybody's feelings. And with stand-up, you really can't be worried about hurting feelings, whether they're the feelings of the people that are on the same side as you or the opposite side of you, or in a lot of cases, your own personal feelings. When it comes to stand-up, it really is a no-holds-barred, no-filter form of self-expression. And being quote-unquote woke has not helped her out at all, because if you are a black woman and you're on the left, nobody will ever actually take you to task on some of the things that you say that you believe in, and that becomes very apparent in her special. And when you don't have the world giving you that, and you also don't go looking for that on your own, you're not going to find yourself being a very good or a very groundbreaking stand-up comedian, because nothing you say is ever challenged and you refuse to challenge yourself. She spent a lot of her time being in the closet anyway, so I don't really respect her as a gay forerunner. There are quite a few of them, like Wanda Sykes, Don Lemon, Anderson Cooper. They didn't come out of the closet till it was the safest time possible, and I'm sorry, but I don't give you credit for deciding to come out of the closet not only when it was the safest possible, but also when it was the most profitable, because that's what a lot of these people did. So when they're presenting themselves to us as being particularly groundbreaking or really taking a stand, don't forget that back when the fight was really happening, they were comfortably nestled in the closet, not being bothered with any of our problems when it came to LGBT. And I know because I've been out in stand-up since 2003, which is when I first started. I never spent a single day in the closet when it comes to stand-up comedy. So when I see people like Wanda Sykes, that nothing she said was at all even pushing the envelope or questioning her own side, which would be the left, which you should question everything when you're stand-up. I personally am very clear about the fact that more recently I align more with the conservative party. But that doesn't mean I don't make jokes that conservatives could actually get upset by. It's just part of the game. And when you're not willing to do that, you're probably not going to be a very interesting stand-up comedian. So when I say that this particular special by Wanda Sykes, it's called I'm an Entertainer, which you're not that entertaining at all. I mean, I guess the industry maybe considers you an entertainer. You're basically just a placeholder, Wanda. That's what Wanda Sykes doesn't get. Had she not come out of the closet, there would have been nothing extraordinary about her. She wasn't one of the queens of comedy. When it comes to Monique, Adele Givens, some more, which, you know, Monique, I don't think she's the greatest thing in the world, but there was a point when she was really killing it, making people laugh. Lunel. There are so many black female comics, even Aisha Tyler, which a lot of people wouldn't think of as a black female comic, even though she is a black female comic. But all of these comedians are much better than Wanda Sykes, so the only thing that she ever had going for her was the fact that at a point she did come out of the closet and then was considered groundbreaking because now she was a lesbian, and she has produced some stuff, like she's one of the producers for Last Comic Standing, which one day I could tell the story about me and her and Last Comic Standing and how that didn't work out. But it really is one of those things where she doesn't ever want anybody to challenge her, and she doesn't even challenge herself. And then she acts like she's super woke, but really, if you're a black lesbian and you're married to a white woman, you're really not doing anything that groundbreaking or revolutionary. You're really not showing us anything except for a stereotype that's existed with straight black men forever. You're basically just a lesbian version of what people make fun of straight black men for in a lot of cases, which is
And when he get on, he leave your for a white girl.
As Kanye put it. I joke, but at the same time, that is the stereotype and it's been around forever, and Wanda Sykes definitely does fit into that. So when I'm listening to Wanda Sykes as somewhat trying to be the voice of reason, because she talks about COVID in the special, she talks about the fact that she needs to get her breasts done again because those need to be changed out, and a little bit of her situation with the cancer that she had, which boo-hoo, Wanda, whatever with that. And I don't mean to be rude or be callous, but I don't really care. To me, that's more of a manipulation and a way to make people, oh, let's not forget, I had cancer, I'm a survivor. Okay, well, just be funny. How about you be funny instead of being worried about being woke? And instead of worrying about what Dave Chappelle said in his specials and how hurtful it was to the trans community, how about you combat that by being extra funny and taking the opposite stance? Instead of doing a hack version of a bathroom joke that we've all heard women say. I've heard so many female comics do a joke about how dirty and what animals women are in the women's bathroom.
Let me just tell you something. For anybody who's ever been into a ladies' room, there ain't nothing ladylike in there. If you go into a public ladies' room and it's clean, you better play the lottery because you got lucky. It's like you can see a woman, she could be in heels and a gown and a tiara. So as soon as she crosses that threshold of the ladies' room, it's... Will it kill you to flush, ladies?
So even her doing that wasn't particularly groundbreaking. It was outright hack. But we're all supposed to pretend that she's really done something, and I'm not sure exactly why that is. And when it came to her resolution on the joke about trans women getting into the bathrooms, eventually she says at the end as her big punchline that maybe the new members, being the trans women, will make the other women actually step it up and start being more clean in the bathroom. Okay, yeah, so maybe having some men around to make sure that the women keep everything clean would be just the fix everybody needs. You know, I'm really just tired of people like Wanda Sykes not being based in reality in any way, and the left going ahead and forgiving that only because she's black and a woman and lesbian. So Wanda Sykes is basically untouchable when it comes to the left, which, like I said, is not going to produce good comedy, is not going to produce even good thinking. Wanda Sykes is somebody that I would have no interest in talking to one-on-one because I know I would always get some kind of politically correct form of any answer that she would actually give and no actual thought or independent thought when it comes to LGBT or anything to do with race. Everything that she does is to please her audience. It's not about helping the community out or helping move a conversation forward. It's 100% placating the audience that she's cultivated. And when it comes down to it, Wanda Sykes should keep her opinions about stand-up or about comedy in general to herself. Wanda Sykes should also keep her ideas about LGBT and politics to herself. There is really no reason at all for anybody to ever want to listen to anything that Wanda Sykes has to say about politics, about comedy, or anything else that you need a functioning brain to talk about. She may be good with business, and I'm not even sure about that. What she may be good at was just putting herself in the right places so that the right people would see her and that she would continue to work for as long as she has in the world of entertainment. And so in that way, I guess maybe the title of her special is correct. I'm an entertainer, because she's certainly not a thinker. She's not really an actress. She's not really a great comedian. So I guess saying you're an entertainer covers everything you're not and gives you something that you actually can be. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.